I'd like to call to order the City of Lake Forest School District Number 67 Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, May 24th, 2011. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Anderson, absent. Mrs. Fisher,
Present.
Mr. Julian,
Here.
Mr. Pendersky,
Here.
Mrs. Rose, absent. Mr. Schuler,
Here.
and Mrs. Wold.
Here. Thank you, board members, and welcome to everyone in our audience. In the President's report tonight, board members, we have two resolutions that I would like for you to take under consideration. This is the first resolution. Whereas Sally McDonald has faithfully served the City of Lake Forest and its children with dedication as a member of the Board of Education of School District 67 from 2007 to 2011. And whereas she served as a member of the Operations Committee from 2007 to 2009 and provided a community perspective, direction, and oversight of district operations in the areas of transportation, building and grounds, and food service. And whereas she represented the Board of Education on the Spirit of 67 Foundation from 2007 to 2009 and provided support to an organization dedicated to raising funds and acquiring resources to provide enriching educational and cultural experiences for the students, parents, faculty, and staff of Lake Forest School District 67. And whereas she served as a member of a team that greatly facilitated the negotiating process, which resulted in fair and equitable contracts between the Board of Education and the Lake Forest Education Association in 2009, and the Service Employees International Union in 2007. And whereas she was a member of the Education Committee from 2009 to 2011 and provided oversight to major district educational initiatives, new programs, and made recommendations to the Board of Education on major topics or matters related to curriculum and instruction. And whereas she served on the Policy Committee from 2009 to 2011 and spent countless hours to ensure the district was up to date and comprehensive in scope in all of its school policies and was instrumental in presenting the board policy manual that was adopted in 2010. And whereas her fellow board members, administrators, and staff will miss her commitment to her responsibilities, her devotion to the children of District 67, her dedication to the school community, and therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the City of Lake Forest School District 67 does express for itself as well as the parents, the students, the staff, and the citizens of Lake Forest, its sincere appreciation and gratitude to Sally McDonald for all she has done to advance the quality education in the city of Lake Forest. May I have a motion to adopt the resolution? Yes, a motion to adopt the resolution.
Oh, I'm on that.
A second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Decision carries unanimously. Thank you, Sally. Whereas Christine Rossman has faithfully served the city of Lake Forest and its children with dedication as a member of the Board of Education of School District 67 from 2001 to 2011. And whereas during her tenure has served as the secretary of the board from 2006 to 2009 and performed this function in a most able fashion. And whereas she served as vice president of the board from 2009 to 2011 and provided sound leadership and diplomacy. And whereas during her tenure, she served as the chairman of the Education Committee since 2005 and provided oversight to district educational initiatives, new programs, and brought forth recommendations to the Board of Education on major topics or matters related to curriculum and instruction and improvement of student outcomes to ensure the implementation and metrics to guide the realization of educational goals. And whereas during her tenure has served on the Finance Committee from 2003 to 2005. In this capacity, Chris provided sound leadership and ensured oversight to all major district revenues, expenses, and investment policies through challenging financial times. And whereas she represented the board on the Operations Committee from 2001 to 2003, and in this capacity, Chris provided oversight to all district operations and a community perspective on the relationship between department, school, and district goals and budgets. And whereas she served as a governing board member of the North Suburban Special Education District, and through her work showed a commitment to the possibilities in every student. And whereas she served as an Ed-Red representative, Association Management Committee representative, and as a member of the district's Budget Committee. And whereas her fellow board members, administrators, and staff will miss her commitment to her responsibilities, her devotion to the children of District 67, her dedication to the school community, and therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the City of Lake Forest, School District 67, does express for itself, as well as the parents, the students, the staff, and the citizens of Lake Forest, its sincere appreciation and gratitude to Christine Rossman for all she has done to advance the quality education in the City of Lake Forest. May I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Oh, second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. thanks to Chris and Sally for coming back for their final board meeting. Bye-bye. That concludes the president's report and brings us to the superintendent's report.
Well, thank you, Madam President, members of the board, and audience. Thank you for being here tonight. Just a couple of quick things. First of all, tonight is the last meeting with the Board of Education for the resigning but new superintendent of Telluride, Colorado, Kyle Schumacher. So we want to thank Kyle for the service he's given in the 16 years that Kyle's been a member of our school district. So everybody, let's give Kyle a round of applause. Mike, are you going to be here for the June meeting? Okay. Kyle, would you like to say anything to the board?
No, just, well, yeah, of course. Hold on.
Share your true feelings.
Short, Kyle.
No, I'd like to just thank the board and certainly Dr. Griffith and everyone for 16 incredible years of my opportunities that I've had here, which have grown over the years from assistant principal all the way to assistant superintendent, and will carry all I've learned here to my new position. And I have learned from a wonderful board, and will be going to a great board, and will certainly be able to take all that stuff with me to Colorado. So thanks to everyone that I've gotten to work with over the years, those who I've worked with only for a couple years, and those I've worked with for many more. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Kyle. We're going to have an appropriate roasting for Kyle among the administrators at a later date, board members. So you'll see Kyle. He'll be here for the next couple of weeks before he finishes his term with us. And of course, it just means everybody gets to go to Telluride and visit. So just a couple of things. First of all, board members, I guess maybe, should I go ahead and use the document reader? I want to do this real quickly if I can. But the question has come up about the cost of the Mandarin program for kindergarten and first grade. So I asked Dr. Andy Hendrickson, who is at the Lake Bluff School Board meeting tonight and not with us right now, to do a side-by-side. What if we didn't have the Mandarin program and we just had a regular kindergarten, first grade? Really, it's very much a break-even cost. There is no increase in cost to the district for having the Mandarin immersion program in kindergarten and first grade. The average cost of kindergarten, first grade teachers is on the left-hand side, totaling about $253,000. And then on the right-hand side, because we have a contract with Michigan State University for one of the Mandarin teachers who's here from China, but whose English is excellent, and I actually have a videotape where she presents herself that I wanted to show to the board tonight, but it's with Andy right now in Lake Bluff. So I'll try to do that. It's very cute. I think you'd be very impressed with her self-presentation. But as a result of the contract, our actual cost for next year will be less, slightly less, than the cost we would have normally expected, by about $25,000, $24,000. In addition, the state of Illinois and the Confucius Institute, sponsored by the Chinese government in Chicago, are funding through grants, sizable grants, any curriculum development, professional development that we have. So we're able to support our families and our children with curriculum and professional development that we will now apply to the 2 grade levels. So we're feeling very good about that also. Just last week, we had a meeting of our parents. Of 72 parents, approximately 60 came. Just to do an orientation for our parents, and Andy reports that the meeting went really, really well. There's a lot of enthusiasm among our families. We're very proud of them. We think this is going to work. It will be at Cherokee School, but I want to stress to the community that we are not doing it for a cost increase. In fact, ironically, the immersion program is less expensive than if we were just to do an add-on language like 2 or 3 days a week. We'd be having to add language teachers. That would be a true additional cost to us. So this is a replacement cost. In the end, all of these teachers will become a part of the LFEA work unit. Just feeling very good about that. Secondly, we do have an opening for Cherokee School principal. Yes.
I just have one comment. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong here, that it's mislabeled. It should be kindergarten teacher, first grade teacher, first grade teacher, just as a note. So,
Oh, you know,
when we,
thank you.
I'm assuming this,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
So it's 2 kindergarten teachers, 2 first-grade teachers on the one side, and 2 kindergarten teachers and 2 first-grade teachers on the other.
Thank you for catching that.
Okay.
Two kindergarten on each side and 2 first grade on each side. So yeah, that's mislabeled. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you.
Somehow I was just going to the dollar amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, good catch. So again, it's 2 kindergarten and 2 first grade teacher on both sides, just a side-by-side comparison. And then next, I'd like to just announce that we are doing a search for principal at Cherokee Elementary School. We will be having a screening team. We have approximately 90 applications right now. We hope to have the process completed and a recommendation to the board by the end of June. So we've also announced this to our parent community at Cherokee as well as among our teaching staff. And then finally, board members, 2 things to bring to your attention. First of all, 8th grade graduation, all board members are invited. It's a big celebration here at West Campus. It's in the gymnasium. It is packed. And board members, please join us. We'll sit on the stage with the students who are handing out the diplomas. It's kind of fun. And it takes about an hour. It's pretty efficient. It's going to be on June 2nd. It starts at 5:30. Please get here early. There are cars everywhere. So if you come just at the last minute sort of thing, you'll be walking from Starbucks. So while it really works well, there is a lot of parking demand. And then finally, we have our year-end celebration on Monday, June 6th at 10:30. All board members are invited. This is an end-of-the-year thank you to our teaching staff, sending off. Julie Meadows always has a little statement to make to the faculty that I think is very, very worthwhile. But we're also honoring our retiring staff for this year. We got actually a large group. Janet Dawson, Mary DeMars, Alex Gonzalez, Tom Gwynn, Fred Cook, Yvonne Mitchell, Madeline Mobile, Phyllis Manjar, Ginger Sheehan, Camille Spatzik, and Johnny Volpendesta. We've got some real stars in this lineup, so board members, please come if you can. It will be fun. It's fairly informal. It's 10:30 on Monday, June 6th. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Griffith. That brings us to public participation. Is there any member of our audience who would like to address the board on a topic not otherwise on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move to reports. There are no reports this evening. Board committees. First, the Board Education Committee, Leslie Fisher and Bill Anderson.
The Board Education Committee has not met in the past month, therefore there is no report tonight.
Thank you, Leslie. The Board Operations Committee, Lori Rose and Rick Schuler.
The Operations Committee did not meet in the last month, therefore there is no memo.
Thank you, Rick. The Board Finance Committee, Jeff Pendersky and John Julian.
Hi, the Board Finance Committee met May 10th at 7:30 a.m. here at the West Campus, and the focus of the meeting included 3 primary items. Changes in the procurement card limits and also payment arrangements. And the action the committee took was to approve increasing the purchase card limits from where they are today to about 500,000. And the rationale for that was it enables the district to make large purchases such as computer equipment using the cards and also getting the rebate points. The second was to put more on the purchasing cards, because in 2012 the district will have to issue 1099s to anybody who's received payment from the district, and that change then removes the burden from the district and puts it on the Bank of Montreal that issues the purchasing cards. The third item is just simply taking advantage of an early payment discount. So we've moved our policy from paying the balances on these cards from 21 days to 7 days, and that enables the district to save a little bit of money. The committee also induced student fees, which remain largely unchanged, and we approved a transportation contract, which we will discussed during the recommendations portion of the agenda. And would this be the time to say something about Budget Committee, or it would be? Okay. So just real briefly, every year there's a joint board meeting where we go through department budgets, kind of department by department, as part of the budget development process. We had that meeting at 7:15 here on May 11th, and just the net of it is that the department budgets for each of the schools are flat or decreasing slightly based on enrollment, and other departments which weren't facing students, not directly related to teaching, had some pretty significant cuts in light of the difficult economic conditions, and I'll just read a few of those numbers. Central office budget will be down 17%. Buildings and grounds spending will decrease 72%, largely reflecting the completion of parking lot and roofing projects. Curriculum development down 6.6%. Superintendent's office down 7%. Human resources down 3%. Technology down 18%. And the list goes on. The food service was really the only department requesting an increase, largely reflecting the higher cost of food, and that's about 0.5%. Of course, these numbers exclude labor, which is largely driven by the labor contract, and that concludes the finance and budget reports.
Thank you very much. That brings us to our district committees where we act as liaisons. First, the North Suburban Special Education District, and it's you again, Jeff.
The NSSED board met at 7 p.m. on May 10th at the Rubloff Building in Highland Park. And I'll just give an update on an issue that I brought to the board last month. And during April's NSSED report, a portion of the update included my concern about NSSED imposing 2012 budget development guidelines, which would enable NSSED to gobble up tuition increases of up to 6%. And District 67 is not supportive of this position. But in the last month, based on member district feedback, NSSED has scaled back its ambitions, and really now they're more in line with the economic reality we face in District 67 and other member districts. And I'm comfortable with the direction. Currently, they're preparing budgets based on 2% tuition increases, and in the longer term, NSSED is going to plan to use a CPI-based formula, which enables it to do some long-term planning and give some more stability to the planning of member districts. So at this point, I can say that I'm cautiously optimistic about the fees that we'll be paying to NSSED, but we should continue to explore performing some of these services in-house where there's an economic and service delivery benefit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. The Illinois Association of School Boards and EdRed is Bill Anderson, who is not here this evening, so he will give his report next month. Professional Development, Jeff Pendersky.
Kyle is going to give his last professional development report tonight.
Well, at least the last one here. So you can tune in to Telluride TV and watch me beginning in July.
Thank you, Kyle.
Boy, that's 1 foot out the door, isn't it?
Actually, I think it's in August. We meet in July. This has been kind of an exciting year, or it has been an exciting year, not kind of, in regards to professional development, because we've been able to really start focusing on aligning, over the last couple of years, our professional development to align with what we need to work on from an assessment standpoint. And we've talked about that during the assessment reports that Julie Cooley and Joe Moline give, and talk about what we've seen as far as student growth and student improvement, both on NWA and ISAT. But we've been doing that through the work we have been doing through professional development. This year, we worked with Lake Bluff Middle School and Cherokee 4th grade teachers on NWA goal setting to try to refine that. So as we looked at data, we were able to refine the goal setting process for our students in 4th grade and align that with some of the Compass learning activities that we're doing. We've been doing a lot of focus, particularly at 5th and 6th grade, for our netbook initiative that will be coming in the fall. And work has started already in preparing teachers not only in the pragmatics of, how does the computer work, how do we work with a Windows machine versus an Apple machine or a Mac machine, but more importantly on how do we integrate this type of technology, how do we make sure that we're doing more collaborative problem-based types of learning opportunities within the classroom. Laura Montgomery, Amy Lamberti, Ken Smith, Jennifer Kolar, and Nancy Hallstrom have been lead teachers in setting up these training opportunities for our teachers over there. John Steiner, Julie Moser, and Tom Cardamone have been assisting and really directing from an administrative standpoint, helping to make sure that there's resources and time available for those to occur. One of the other exciting things, again, connected with writing, has been a six trait writing workshop. There was a 2-day workshop that, again, we worked with our 6th through 8th grade teachers, both in Lake Bluff and at Deer Path, to develop and sequence our writing curriculum at the middle school levels. We did start an Odyssey Writer Training, which is an opportunity for students to do their writing online, get peer feedback from colleagues should they choose, and for teachers to edit and review their papers directly without needing to print things off. We found teachers who are using this are seeing more rewrites occurring, more editing occurring, because students are wanting to send the papers in, get some feedback, and then actually rewrite them to a degree. We unfortunately had a technological glitch during that training, and we're actually going to start additional training during Institute Days on August 23rd, and I just talked with the trainers about that today. For this whole year, Andy Hendrickson has been working with our math teachers in grades 1 through 5, both in District 67 and in 65, with Janice Heigl, to work on developing better math skills and math training skills, connecting them with some online resources, but also developing some of the hands-on opportunities for students in learning math. Math is one of our areas that we really have a strength in, but we are continuing to look at ways to integrate what we're doing with math within the other content areas as well, and that's something that Andy is going to be continue working on next year. In addition, this year we held a Social Studies 1st through 4th grade workshop, and we had teachers from each school at each grade level participating here to really realign and look at our social studies curriculum and begin to embed various other aspects of the curriculum into that. We were fortunate that Susie O, our ILI, the teacher at the Everett School, was familiar with a product called, or an online application called iEarn, which is an internationally, a global website where teachers can line up with other teachers and work on projects together. So a school in Kenya and Croatia can be working with a school here in Chicago studying the effect of season. So more of a bigger type of topic, down to some narrow topics. What is a holiday like in your country? So it can go from a global awareness on a big scale down to sort of the micro scale. And we had some teachers both at Everett and Cherokee in particular who piloted some things in that area. And really thanks to Susie O for running a book study on that and getting that started there. We are excited that we had 38 teachers complete 71 college courses as of from July 1st to May 20th, 2011. We've got some more that are finishing up, but in our new system for tracking professional development, it's much easier for us to start looking at that data, see the types of courses they're taking and how they're aligning to the types of things we're doing in the district, and so it's very exciting. I'm sure that the person who will be doing this report in the fall will have much more greater details and more pretty graphs to show you in September for the end of the year report. But thank you for 16 years of professional development reporting.
Thank you, Kyle. And thanks for 16 years, was it 16? Yeah, of course, I've already forgotten. 16 years of great reports to the board.
Thanks.
It was. Did you mean you almost forgot? What's his name?
Yeah. And that brings us to the Curriculum Coordinating Committee. Lori Rose is not here this evening. Spirit of 67 Foundation, myself. This was really the culminating month for the Spirit of 67. Home Tour was held on Thursday, May 5th, and Home Tour has really become an event that embraces the entire community. There were many volunteers and many home tours who all helped make the day a great success. Then the grant reception was held last week. I believe it was on Tuesday, May 17th. Over $253,000, representing 31 grants, were awarded for the 2010-2011 fiscal year. Both Leslie Fisher and Dr. Griffith were at the reception, so thanks to both of you for attending. And for those of you who are interested in seeing exactly where the $253,000 is going, there is a link on the website under Spirit of 67, and then go to grants, and you will be able to see all the wonderful projects that the funds are being used for. That concludes the Spirit of 67 report. The Tri-District Committee, Julia Wold and Rick Schuler. The Tri-District Committee did not meet. Are there any other committees? Actually, the JSSC did meet. We discussed our joint personnel. Was that 6 weeks ago? That was 6 weeks ago, so John already reported on that. Hello. But we are meeting on Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Are there any other committees? Seeing none, that brings us to our recommendations portion. Dr. Griffith?
Okay, board members, we have 3 recommendations tonight. As reported by our Finance Chair, Jeff Pendersky, the District 67 Finance Committee discussed and is endorsing the 2011-12 student fee schedule for next year based on freezing all of the fees that we have actually had in the prior 2 years. So this would be the 3rd year in a row that the Finance Committee is recommending to the board the freezing of fees. The only exception to that would be a fee, an adjusted fee to families for the one-on-one netbook initiative that we have in the middle school.
And what is that fee? So the netbook fee is $75. Is that correct?
Correct, and there'll be some offset for calculators, which are more in the range of $100 when students get to the 7th and 8th grade. So there are some offsets for parents also.
And Harry, didn't it work out roughly 50-50, the funding of them, the district versus the parents?
Right, because it's the fee is $75 a year for 4 years. And then at the end of the 4 years, the student will own the equipment. We also received last year a sizable donation. Kyle Schumacher assisted us with that through the foundation. So the Spirit was able to initiate a pretty large pilot in the district, and now it's being moving forward on a full grade level basis, and ultimately every middle school student will have a netbook.
Any further questions? Any questions from our audience? Do I have a motion to approve the 2011-2012 fee structure?
I move we adopt the fee structure as presented.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Any discussion about the motion? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Julian?
Aye.
Mrs. Fisher?
Aye.
Mr. Schuler?
Aye.
Mr. Pendersky?
Aye.
And Mrs. Wold?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Motion carries. Dr. Griffith?
Okay, board members, in 2007 and 8, we had a committee in the district that we're looking at photography services across all of our schools, because there are annual pictures that are taken for students. And a company called LifeTouch was awarded a competitive bid that was then extended for 2 years. The service by LifeTouch, as reported by our parent-based committee, Ann Whipple assists us with that, has been very good. They've done a really good job. And so the contract expires on June 30th. We are now recommending a 3-year contract for the continuation of services at each of our schools for the photography services.
Any questions? This is a pass-through, correct? Any questions from the audience? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the Life Touch contract?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Fisher,
Aye.
Mr. Schuler,
Aye.
Mr. Pendersky,
Aye.
Mrs. Wold,
Aye.
Mr. Julian.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Motion carries. Dr. Griffith?
Okay, board members, the final recommendation for tonight is for the rebidding of regular transportation services with our transportation companies. And I'd like to call on, I guess, Alan, do you need a microphone there? To assist us with this one. This was a large endeavor. It has been reviewed in considerable detail by the Board Finance Committee, again, as reported by Chairman Jeff Pendersky. But Alan will give a little summary for the board also. So just so everybody knows that this has been very carefully evaluated, and we've got some good news here too for us with this bid. Alan?
Several months ago, we bid the transportation services in conjunction with District 65 and District 115. We held a mandatory pre-bid meeting. We had 6 vendors show up at that meeting. From those discussions, as we compiled the bid specifications, we decided to segregate out fuel costs. If you go back a couple of months, fuel costs were rising dramatically, and news reports were that there was no end in sight. And our concern was if we bid it in that environment, there would be protection on the part of bidders to protect themselves against high fuel prices, and if in the future they dropped, we would be stuck at a high price. So we decided to segregate out the fuel price, and it's a cost of doing business. If it goes up, we'll pay it. If it goes down, we'll reap the benefit from it. We also included in the specs that the successful vendor had to use a computerized routing system to establish routes during the summer. Tends to be more efficient. We also required that they have a GPS system, not like you would think in your car like a Garmin, but a system that will track where buses are at what time and report back in the event that we need to find out that information. We also asked for one additional item, which I'll talk about later, which was an alternate to provide video and audio recorders on the buses. So we compiled our specs, sent them out. We had 4 companies that bid on transportation services. The low bidder in all 3 districts turned out to be Olson Transportation. Now, if in assessing what their cost would be for District 67, if you assume an average price of $4 a gallon for diesel fuel, it's going to be about a push to what we paid this year. If you assume a cost of $3.50, we'll save about $35,000. At the time we opened the bids, I think diesel was about $3.82. So we're optimistic we can save some money on the bid. While Olson will be new to District 67, they're not new to Lake Forest. They've been providing transportation services to District 115 and 65 for many years, and they're a very good company. So we have a high degree of confidence in recommending them to you. Now, as far as the alternate then, there was an alternate for about $3,100 to install audio-video equipment on all the buses. And AV equipment has evolved over the years. If you go back 10, 15 years ago, they were black boxes with an LED light, and companies or districts that put them in then would rotate a camera between the bus. The driver nor the students would ever know when a camera was there. But the technology has evolved to the point where it's all digital now, and it can be stored for a period of time. We recommend that we put it on the bus. It really helps with discipline issues. And it's, as I said, it's a cost of about $3,100, and that's the alternate. So our recommendation to you tonight is to accept the Olson Transportation bid with route costs of $74.90 per route, kindergarten route cost at $52 per route, and an alternate of adding the audio-video recording on all school buses at a cost of $3,154 per year. It's a 3-year contract, which we can then subsequently renew if we're happy with the price and service.
Board members, any questions?
I would just like to say, as a board member, I was very pleased with the process on this. Not only did we get a competitive bid and went with the lowest cost provider, but for the board, it was very important that the company we're using to shuffle our kids around has been tested locally. You know, we did other calls, so there shouldn't be any surprises. And we're adding a safety feature, you know, monitoring disciplinary actions, all at a potentially cheaper cost depending on the cost of fuel. So my big comment is I just like the process, and I think it came out well.
Do we need to notify then that there will be video recording on the buses?
Yes, we'll communicate with everyone about this. I've already talked, we had a lengthy talk with the principals about this. They are enthusiastic about doing this. It's become a common practice. I think this will help us a lot with respect to appropriate bus behavior on a more consistent basis. And of course, we'll be communicating with students and our parents in advance of the first day of ridership.
Any questions?
Students beware.
Any questions from the audience? Do I have a motion to approve the bus contract?
I move that we approve the new school bus contract.
Second?
Second.
Any discussions on the motion? May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Schuler,
Aye.
Mr. Pendersky,
Aye.
Mrs. Wold,
Aye.
Mr. Julian,
Aye.
Mrs. Fisher.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The motion carries. Dr. Griffith, do we have one more?
We do.
Okay.
I misspoke. We do have one more recommendation for you, board members. Carol White and Alan Albus and Jennifer Hermes worked on this. We also contacted our cleaning services, and we were discussing, are there ways that we can trim further costs in that contract as we are looking at all of our contracts. And without sacrificing the quality of services, we've come up with a plan to reduce the number of hours in the summer and on the holidays during break times from 8 hours to 7 hours on the job, which would cause a $10,000 reduction in the current contract. We are very pleased with the services. We feel that our group is doing an excellent job. So we're recommending to the, this was brought to the Budget Committee. The Finance Committee also reviewed this. But for the 2011-12 school year, the contract would be reduced to $495,198.
Any questions, board members? Any questions from the audience? Do I have a motion to approve the custodial contract?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Pendersky,
Aye.
Mrs. Wold,
Aye.
Mr. Julian,
Aye.
Mr. Schuler,
Aye.
Mrs. Fisher.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And now that brings us to our consent agenda items. We have the approval of minutes for regular executive session and special meetings all held on April 26th, 2011. The approval of disbursements, payrolls, and financial statement for April 2011. The April 2011 disbursements totaled $1,068,597.64. April 2011 payrolls totaled $1,425,616.04. The approval of human resources items, including leave requests, new staff, retirements, and status changes. And the destruction of audio recordings from July 28th, 2009. Is there any item that a board member would like removed for further discussion? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Wold,
Aye.
Mr. Pendersky,
Aye.
Mr. Julian,
Aye.
Mr. Schuler,
Aye.
Mrs. Fisher.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That brings us to our FOIA requests. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 FOIA requests from Nancy Thorner in Lake Bluff. We had an executive session prior to the meeting this evening. No action was taken. Future agenda items. Is there any topic that a board member would like added to a future agenda? Seeing none. Our announcements. Friday, May 27th is School Improvement Day. It will be a half day of school with morning kindergarten classes attending. Monday, May 30th is Memorial Day, no school. Thursday, June 2nd is the Deer Path Middle School 8th grade graduation from 5 to 6:30 right here. Monday, June 6th is the last day of school, 1 hour attendance. Tuesday, June 28th is our next Board of Education meeting. Board members, there will be a workshop together with District 115 preceding that Board of Education meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Motion to-
moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion, opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Meeting adjourned.